All right, welcome back live. We continue right here on Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani with you until 11 o'clock. Remember, Pittsburgh Riverhounds have a big game coming up on Wednesday in the third round of the U.S. Open Cup. We've been televising a lot of their games here, and they played a 2-2 draw last night in Tampa. They're still the only undefeated team in the USL, 5-0-5, and they will play FC Cincinnati, a team just ahead of them in the standings. So that's a good one on Wednesday at Highmark Stadium. You should turn out for that. If you haven't, it should be a beautiful night, and not many other things going on locally. Check them out. Unleash the Hounds. Meantime, I just want to throw this out about the Houston Astros. I see they're winning again tonight, 2-0 over Cleveland, a good team down there at Minute Maid Park. And I looked at the starting rotation just to throw this out. McCullers is pitching tonight. Has a shutout in the ninth inning. If he wins, he'll be 6-2. Verlander is 6 wins with a 1.05 ERA. Charlie Morton is 6-0 with a 1.98 ERA. Garrett Cole is 4-1 with a 1.97 ERA. The only guy who's not been very good is Dallas Keuchel, and he's a Cy Young type of guy, and he's 3-6, and you know he's going to turn it around. That staff is as good as any that you're going to find in baseball. Let's go out to line one, Steve in Baldwin. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, love the show.
Thanks for calling.
Just want to give a quick shout out to the Winnipeg Jets fans. Did you happen to see the end of the game?
Yeah, they're classy all the way through.
Class all the way through.
Yep.
Cheering for the Vegas Knights and stuff like that. It was sort of refreshing to see, other than the Philly fans. All righty, have a good night.
All right, thanks. I thought you had more than that. Okay, but yeah, you're right. Knows it's hockey, and I'm glad they have a franchise back there now. I thought they'd be finals, and really, boy, they won the first game of that series, and then Vegas wins 4 straight. Winnipeg did not lose 4 straight all season long, and they picked now to do it. Line 2, it's Tony in the Hill District. Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I know their season is over. How come the Penguins was doing so well in the beginning of the playoffs, and then the last 2 games they played they scored, but to me they played sort of sloppy. To me, I want to ask you, where do you think they went wrong in them last 2 games?
I think, Tony, it was just basically getting a little bit too over-aggressive on times when they came to pinching in from the point, especially defensemen. There's a time and a place for that. I think Chris Letang was involved in a lot of those, and I still really respect his talents, and I don't think the Penguins should trade him. Some people have mentioned that. He just needs to simplify his game, and I thought they were caught too many times giving up odd man breaks. If you look back at the story of the season, to me, part of it was too many odd man breaks the other way, and that puts the goaltender under a lot of pressure. Now, you would like Matt Murray to make a big save to pick those guys up. For example, the game winner in the overtime game, 2-1, was a bad miscommunication between Letang and Crosby in the middle of the ice, and boom, Ovechkin goes to Kuznetsov, and he's on his way, and Murray couldn't stop him. So you can't give up those juicy opportunities, and I think that was what we saw more of in the last couple of games. By the way, one of our topics tonight on the Showdown was something brought up in Sportsnet Canada about how serious the Penguins would be in trying to acquire Jonathan Taves from the New York Islanders. So we have a pretty good debate about that. Or Jonathan Tavares, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Taves from the Blackhawks. Tavares is a guy who's going to make a ton of money, and you know how good he is. He's been a regular all-star and a regular guy over 30 goals, and Tavares is out there as an unrestricted free agent. I still think his landing spot will be San Jose, but Tavares, according to this report, says don't be surprised if Jim Rutherford makes a play. Jim Rutherford's a big-time dealer, but this would be a complicated one. So I'm anxious to hear if you have an opinion about that. Or it could just be fodder that somebody threw out there, too. I don't know. Clint in Altoona. What's up, Clint? How are you?
How you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Uh-huh.
My question is on the Pirates, but I had to talk about the Vegas Knights and everything. The NHL laid them as 500-1 odds to win the Cup, and if I would have had an outlet to get some of that action, I would have taken that. Because
you will soon.
I mean, this is your grandfather's expansion team. I mean, they have some really good players on that team and experience. I don't get that, and I think Tampa Bay is going to eventually win the next game, and that'll be a great series. But my question, I said, the Pirates, where did they pick up this George Contes guy? Every time I've seen all the Pirate games this year, every time he comes in, he gets up runs.
Yeah, they brought him, San Francisco released him last year, and so they picked him up. And, he's had some good seasons, but not recently, and I think right now he's really struggling. Every time he comes in there, he does, Clint, give up a run or two. And I think last night that hurt them. Gave up a home run in the ninth inning after a bad play set up one of their first runs in that inning. But I don't think he should be given a spot. Now, he was taken out of the 8th inning spot or the 7th inning spot, whatever he was in, and so now he's not in that role anymore. But how many times can you keep putting him out there if he's not going to deliver?
All right, thank you. Good night, then.
All right, thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, and with regard to Vegas, the NHL wanted a competitive team in Vegas. They did not want it to be the typical expansion team, which means you're going to go in and lose, 70 games and look terrible. They knew how important this. Plus, the asking price on a franchise was very high. So they did what they thought was the right thing. They may have overdone it because they did make it really advantageous for Vegas to go out. And a lot of teams had to make separate deals. The Fleury thing with the Penguins also included. The Penguins had to give up a second-round pick to ensure that Vegas would take Fleury, as opposed to anyone else they left unprotected. Same thing happened with the Florida Panthers. In order to get Jonathan Marchessault, well, you got to take Riley Smith's contract. Both have been very big contributors. Nate Schmidt was in the same boat in Washington. William Karlsson in Columbus. So, they made it very good. Those guys have never had these kinds of career years, so it's come right together for them. But they had a lot of help. But give them credit. It's not easy to take a whole bunch of new guys and put them together and have success the way they have. But to me, it always starts in goal. And Marc-Andre Fleury has been the main reason why. Let's go to Jim and Irwin. What's up, Jim? How you doing?
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I just want to make a comment about this Polanco situation. Personally, I'm in pain when I watch him get up the bat with men on scoring position. He swings at bad pitches away, he strikes out, pops up. Yeah, he can hit the long ball once in a while. But I think if Austin Matthews can hang in there and do well, maybe you can put him in right if Marte comes back and sit Polanco, because he is awful. I'll let up.
Well, he's very inconsistent. That's the thing about him. Last year, just 11 home runs. He started off so well. First couple of weeks of the season, had 5 home runs and 15 RBIs. He was flirting with league leaderships in those categories, and now I think his average is down to 225 for the season. And you're right, he's been undisciplined at the plate. I'm not going to suggest that they're going to just cut ties with him at this point. They signed him to a long-term deal, expecting that he'd produce. Thomas McGuire has the same sentiments you do, I believe. He said Polanco's turned out to be a bust. He's a poor man's Pedro Alvarez with less power. Well, we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't go there because they, like I said, put a lot into him. When Marte comes back, Marte goes to center. You're not going to move Dickerson. An interesting question would be, and I'd like to get your take on it, so call me at 412-575-2600. Corey Dickerson has been really good. He makes $6 million this year. Next year, it's his last year before free agency. So he's going to go to arbitration and likely make 10, if this continues for him. And then he leaves. So what do you do if you're the Pirates? If you're looking for a spot for Meadows, it could be that spot. But, again, if he's good, don't you owe it to your team to sign him long term? That's one of the things we always seem to talk about. So, but I think it's intriguing to think of. He has one more year left. It's an arbitration year and then free agency. We'll take a break. Jeff and John coming up next right here live on Pittsburgh CW.